We're here today with Dr. Verner, former professor from Penn State University, and now the president, CEO, and inventor of cognitive learning systems, Lab Learner.
Right.
Yeah,
That's right.
I'm seeing a tremendous interest from our students. I'm seeing them poking their heads in the door.
Right.
They came in and sat in on their lunch hour.
Right.
Rather than
Right.
being with their friends, they wanted to talk to you. They wanted to find out what's going on in
Right.
here.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, I think it's not going to be very hard for the teachers to get them to really get into science on this. And yeah, they've been poking their heads in, and I've been encouraging them to come in. And we were looking at some of the slides and adjusting the microscopes, and the students asked, well, what slide's on there? And I really didn't know. I just grabbed a slide, and I was just using it to adjust the lens. And it was human breast cancer. And you should have the students were just completely captivated. And you could see the deep respect that they had for the importance of science. And, I mean, if you make science relevant to a student, they just gravitate to it and they cling to it.
Quality of the equipment that you brought. You said that the microscopes that our middle school kids are going to use are the same you use in your medical school?
Right. I was, you mentioned a professor, I was a professor of pediatrics at Penn State College of Medicine. And that's in Hershey, Pennsylvania. And the microscopes, when we started doing the Lab Learner program, we just used what we were familiar with. So these are basically histology microscopes for first-year medical students. That's what your students are using. See, what we don't want is 4 kids using one beaker. Because what happens, the most aggressive one has the beaker and 3 people are watching. What are you going to learn from 2 feet away? Okay? So most of the equipment, you notice, everybody gets their own piece of equipment. Sometimes you maybe share a microscope with somebody else. But the curriculum's written so that both members of that team would have specific jobs to do. So if you take science and you say one of our points here is to just develop good critical thinkers, then it doesn't matter whether they go into science or not. They still got something out of their science education.
Listen, in other schools, the kids will come to school sick because they don't want to miss their lab day because they're so excited about learning science.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's good or bad, but
well,
they come to school, they know their lab day is 1 day a week, and they don't want to miss that day. And so, parents oftentimes call in and find out when is lab next week, because I don't want to schedule the orthodontist appointment for that day.
There's no cost for this to our families. This is just our science program.
It's the way to go.
Yeah,
I think that kids are going to get an awful lot out of it.
Yeah. All right. Anything you want to tell our parents?
What I would tell your parents really is that it won't be long unless the parent themselves is a scientist before their students start coming home with information that they may never have heard of before. If you look at the state and national science standards, there's a great deal of detail in science that parents graduated from high school years ago did not know. And so I would say, don't be afraid of that. Ask your students a lot of questions and learn with them.